Hell yeah, let's do this. Over the past few months, I've spent a lot of time trying a bunch of different things, trying to get out of my head so I can feel better about doing this content. And this guy right here, this works for me, for now at least. But why? For whatever reason, actual images of my face are pretty much a non-starter for me. I've got theories on some of the reasons why, but let's be real. Nobody cares that I use AI for my YouTube content. Full disclosure, I don't look very much like this at all, but I look close enough for this to work. Well, for now at least. This episode has been in the works for quite a while. I've tried using the emoji that my iPhone created, but this format here works better for a lot of different reasons. For starters, I'll never record another episode only to realize I'm wearing the wrong friggin' shirt, or the lighting is weird, or there's some other stupid little detail I can't move past. I'm going to let AI handle all of that shit from now on. I'm going to focus on getting the anxiety out of the way and talk about some real stuff. And today I'm going to talk again about AI. A while back I did a whole thing where I asked ChatGPT to tell me about the fuzzy logic features on a rice cooker. And since then, I've tried testing AI for a number of different things. One of my hobbies is older cars. I've got a project car that I've been restoring for a very, very long time. And for whatever reason, I'm pretty partial to the color orange, for reasons I'm sure I'll get into someday. Now, while the car was in the paint shop, I started really thinking a lot about the color. Orange and white is a very classic combination on older Camaros like mine. But I'm really liking some of the newer colors from companies like Porsche and BMW and Audi. And I kind of wondered what one of those grays that sort of resemble primer, one with no metallics or pearls in it, what would that look like with orange stripes? I mean, in my head, it's pretty badass. So I think it was Gemini that I used to kind of show me what it would look like. Now, it was enough for me to see it wasn't going to work at all. But I noticed a bunch of other things that AI was doing. AI would just randomly change things like the grill or the headlights, regardless of what I tried. And I could never, not one single time, get the stripes right. Nothing I tried worked. Not one time. So I thought, hey, maybe AI can help me with this face thing. I went the photorealistic route at first, me walking down Broadway in Nashville wearing my Joshua Ray Walker concert t-shirt. And, AI just kept getting the little things wrong every time. And for a while, it was really aggravating. I had all these great ideas, but between my brain and the anxiety and the amount of money I was prepared to put into this, it was reaching a limit. And I've got tons of ideas lined up. But, if I can't figure out how to record these things, then what's the point, right? I'm even building this little AI lab so I can dig into some things more. But, without some kind of engaging element, what's the point? So here I am. Now, there have been other things in the way, too. Like, life got really, really fucking big there for quite a while. 2025 hasn't been the greatest, y'all. It's not all bad, but the bad stuff has been really, really bad. One of the things I've talked about quite a bit has been my mental health journey post-pandemic. I've reflected on a lot of things, and over time I've talked with friends and family, people who've kind of known me all along, trying to just get some basic answers about myself. And somewhere in there, I stumbled across something called quantum mind theory. Now, it all started simply enough. One day, the algorithm, that mysterious entity that determines what content gets pushed to our individual timelines, it steered me to this video. I'll put a link in the description. Now, it appears this video was put together entirely using AI, yet something in this content really did jump out at me. The gist is that Google shut down a quantum computing project that was codenamed Willow. The video mentions things like researchers seeing weird patterns in the data, things like symbology from ancient civilizations and other mathematical data. Now, I try and remain as skeptical as I can about things, Occam's razor and the notion that the simplest explanation is probably the right one, all that lot. That is who I try to be. Something about this was very different, though. For the better part of 2 weeks, I talked to tons of people about this idea. And occasionally I'd go a few levels deeper with folks. What if all of space-time were like this giant fabric that ran throughout the universe? Not like a textile product, but like this plane where things like human knowledge and language and culture and science and math all exist to kind of hold humankind together. And what if we humans are like the perfect two-way radios to interact with this quantum fabric? My idea is this. We all take in signals all the time from countless sources, things in our past, environmental factors. Now, suppose our brains process all these inputs and transmit the outputs of our thoughts back to this fabric, along with the outputs of everybody else in the entire world. If we're capable of transmitting our outputs to this fabric, or at the very least balance our own original thoughts against the signals we get from this fabric, then is it a big stretch to think that maybe some of us are able to process these signals differently? Their radios tuned to different inputs, processing these ideas unconsciously and sharing results with others in a non-verbal way. I mean, probably. For starters, though, how would you prove something like that, right? And that's sort of where Willow, Google's quantum computer, comes in. What if all these cryptic signals seen in the data are really a glimpse into this ethereal plane? And what if Willow were somehow able to write information back to this plane? Did the engineers panic, worried they would literally destroy the space-time fabric, blow the universe apart? Was it, as Ryan Montgomery suggests, just an architectural glitch in the chip itself, proof of human involvement, and further proof that quantum just isn't ready for prime time? My inner skeptic wants to believe it's a bit of a coincidence. Except one of the people that I've spoken to during this period is the mother of a profoundly autistic son. I got to meet her son recently, and something happened that really kind of shook me in a very good way. I've known the mom literally my entire life. In fact, our paths have continuously crossed over the years. She's recently written a book, and now that I've got the technology lined out more, she's going to come on and be a guest so we can discuss some of this in more detail. But before we do that, I've got a bit of homework. There's a podcast called The Telepathy Tapes. I'll put a link to it in the description. At a high level, this podcast explores the notion of telepathy within the profoundly autistic community. Kids are seemingly able to read the minds of their caregivers. I'll admit the notion of telepathy is pretty far flung for me. The notion that someone can will their thoughts into your head, all Jedi mind trick style, doesn't really resonate with me. But what if people exhibiting these traits are really just closely tuned into the radios of others? What if they have a better awareness of this plane of existence? It's not a thing you can see, it's just there. And what if, as a way to compensate for this enhanced ability, other capabilities are somehow compromised in the process? Perhaps someone who is unable to clearly communicate to you or I at all is so tuned in, they don't need words. Languages are man-made constructs after all. Like I said when I did the first one of these, I am sticking with positive things here. I am absolutely certain there are folks out there who will disagree with all of this. Excellent. Disagreement, specifically respectful disagreement, is mandatory. None of us have everything right, so we all need these external signals to balance things out. I think this is going to be fun. Take care.